Join me now as we follow in the footsteps of Vlad Dracula. The city of Târgoviște, north of Bucharest, became the capital of Wallachia in 1431, when its princely palace was expanded and fortified. The ruins of the palace have been well preserved, and the expansive complex is now home to several museums.
Târgoviște Palace was, at one time, Vlad Tepes' primary residence, and in fact it's actually the residence for most of the princes of Wallachia. Today it's virtually in ruins. There's some of the complexes left, as you can see behind me, some of the walls. The basement remains where Vlad Tepes supposedly tortured many of his victims, although there's not a whole lot of evidence for that. But so the princely palace was where all of the bureaucracy would have operated. It would have not necessarily been a primary stronghold, but it would have been the administrative center of Wallachia at that time, until the capital was moved to Bucharest, which is where it remains today, present-day Romania. And the primary feature of the princely palace here at Târgoviște is the absolutely imposing citadel, which is what they call it, the tower, that rises up above the entire complex. That was actually built by Vlad Tepes so that it could A, be a defensive position, but also B, it was a great place for him to be able to stand and watch the victims that he had impaled down in the courtyard below.
Without question, the feature that dominates the princely palace and the city of Târgoviște is Chindia Tower. This imposing structure was built by Vlad the Impaler during his second reign. Its primary function was as a watchtower, but it also served a more sinister purpose.
From this vantage point, Vlad the Impaler could look out over his entire palace courtyard and watch and observe not only attackers potentially coming from the Ottoman Empire or from Transylvania, but also down below into the courtyard to see the executions happening on an almost hourly basis.
Although the princely palace is now in ruins, this tower remains remarkably well preserved, and inside is a museum dedicated to the voivodes who ruled Târgoviște in the past. Also well preserved is the palace's basement. The foundation of the palace remains in nearly perfect condition and looks much like it would have during Vlad the Impaler's time. Despite speculation that the basement was used as a dungeon to torture prisoners, there is no solid evidence to support this claim. More likely, it was used to safely store provisions year-round, and also used to safely store people during enemy attacks. During the Turkish invasion of Wallachia, Târgoviște Palace marks the farthest extent north that the Ottoman army was able to penetrate into the country. When Sultan Mehmed II arrived at Târgoviște, he and his army were greeted with a grisly sight. Vlad the Impaler had created the Forest of the Impaled. Thousands of bodies were impaled in a line of stakes as far as the eye could see. This grisly sight so shook the Ottoman ruler that he turned around and left the country. Although there were several more invasions of Wallachia led by the Ottoman Empire, Sultan Mehmed II never saw Târgoviște again.